Hey guys, thanks for hanging out Bridgeside on this Monday night. We're bringing you another edition of Bridgeside Sports Live. Just four guys from Brooklyn talking about the week in sports. So let me just introduce you to some of our guests here today, our panel. All right, to my left, we have Mr. Sports Science, Philly Kaggs.
What's going on, everybody?
All right, he's not a doctor. Don't let him fool you.
He doesn't have a PhD.
I have my doctorate, man.
Do you really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that about you.
I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not a medical doctor,
All right.
but I have my clinical doctorate. I'm a doctor.
All right,
I'm
we
physical
got it.
therapy.
We got it.
All right,
Phil.
I'm
We
impressed.
got it.
Yeah, you're a doctor. We get it.
Got
Okay.
it.
To his left, we
Calm
have
down.
Chris the Analyst Ventura.
What's up? What's up? What's good, people?
All right, chill out. You're not hosting today. And then I must introduce our very special guest. We've been trying to get him on the show for a long time, all the way from Hollywood. It's the DFB, D. Borst.
Gentlemen.
Thank you, sir. We've been trying to get him on the show. He's always got work commitments, but very special guest, and we're excited to have him. Absolutely. All right. We go way back. Even we used to play Madden 2-player seasons in college. Probably the only two people to ever do that.
Greatest time of my life.
You remember the Saints franchise?
Very sad.
The craziest thing was I was the quarterback on every play, but you were like the wide receiver. Sometimes I would do running plays, and you weren't even involved, but you still played.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know why I just thought of that. But that's how way back we go. So anyway, thanks for joining us on Monday night. I just want to introduce you to the question of the night that we do every Monday. I'm going to put it out there now, and if you have anything to say, any comments, we'd love to hear from you, and we're going to try to get back to you when you make those comments. So our question of the night for tonight is there a future for the Big Three League that just debuted yesterday? It's basically like a 3-on-3 basketball tournament league with some retired NBA players, some past All-Stars, some past scrubs. But it's trying to get off the ground. Yesterday was the debut, and I think it's something interesting to talk about. So we're just going to put it out there. Is there a future for this league going forward? So any comments are appreciated, and we'll try to get back to you. Anyway, so let's kick off the show. Our first topic of the night. NBA draft was last Thursday? Thursday, right?
Yep, correct.
Yep.
Thursday.
All right, so some interesting. I think there was a lot of things that people were expecting, but also some trades. There's just a lot of things going on last Thursday. So Fultz, Ball, Tatum went 1, 2, 3.
Yep, correct.
Right?
Jackson 4.
I think that was pretty much expected. But some teams got better overnight. Some teams, maybe didn't do so good. So let's just start it off with our first question, and I'll kick it to Mr. Sports, the doctor. Who had a really good draft? What team had a really strong draft on Thursday?
Well, I know the DFB had a couple of guys, couple of teams, but I think the Wolves ended up with a great draft, and it wasn't even for their draft pick. I think they made a great trade with the Bulls. I don't think the Bulls got enough back. If for everyone out there, the Wolves were able to land Jimmy Butler. They gave up Chris Dunn, who was a high pick last year. They also gave up Zach LaVine, which. I mean, we see him on
the highlight
exactly.
reel.
We see him on a highlight reel. I mean, for that to be the second piece of the trade for Jimmy Butler, who's a great player and a young player, I don't think and a good defender. I don't think it was a good enough trade.
And just to add, they had to give the pick back in the first round, which a lot of people didn't think they should have ever done.
The only difference was they went down from 7 to 16, so they didn't even lose a first round pick. They just went down 9 picks and got. Hands down, the best player in the trade.
They should have kept both of those first round.
Well, but let me ask you.
So
So with this trade, right? The Wolves getting Butler. Like, where do they fit in the West? Like, what seed do you see them being next year? I mean, they got.
No,
they're in the West.
Yeah,
so they got
Milwaukee. I'm sorry.
They got Rubio now. They got Wiggins. They got Towns, and they got Butler. That's a pretty solid. Now I know they don't have much of a bench. They're saying, but
they got a really good coach too in Thibodeau.
Thibodeau's a good coach.
Working again with Jimmy Butler.
So, Donnie, where do you see them basically fit? And what seed do you see them?
It's hard to say without watching a game. I'd probably say 4, 5.
Well, we're here to make
6.
predictions. I mean, if we said things at the end of the season, Donnie, then they wouldn't be that exciting. Right?
No. My point is, after last draft, when they had all this young talent, we would have thought that they would have been an 8-7 seed already. They weren't relevant. This year, I would actually make them relevant. I would say 5, 6. Maybe. I wouldn't go that far.
You said a 4 originally.
I was reaching initially,
I go 5, 6. What Donnie said reminded me of Shaq and Charles Barkley. They asked Charles Barkley asked Shaq for his prediction for the Warriors-Cavs, and Shaq went, "Well, I want to watch 1 or 2 games before I make a prediction." And Charles Barkley was like, "Why don't you just watch 5 games and then predict?" So I put him at 5 or 6 too.
Yeah, I think. I mean, listen, you got to figure like the Clippers. Now they're kind of going to revamp their roster. Some teams are going to slip. Obviously, I mean, I see them fitting probably at around 5. You know,
what would be your teams before that?
If everything works out,
that make it.
Well,
obviously Golden State.
Warriors,
Golden State, Spurs
1-2.
are definitely going to be 1-2.
Yeah. Rockets, I think.
Spurs had a good draft. Too.
Rockets, I could see dropping a bit. I don't know if they're
Still
going to
put them ahead of the Wolves though.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I don't know, but I mean, the Wolves will be right up there. I feel like that they can contend. Any other teams that really had good drafts that you guys?
I mean, I'd have to say that Sacramento had the best draft of all.
Why do you say that?
Number 1, De'Aaron Fox. A lot of people thought he was actually the best point guard in the draft. He's the fastest player in the draft. Number 2, I mean, Frank Mason III was the best player in college basketball consensus all of last year, which is weird because people don't take juniors, seniors very seriously in the draft. Put him down to a second-round pick.
I think he won the Naismith. I think he was the lowest pick of all time for Naismith, or one of the lowest
it would have
picks
to be
of all time
because
for
juniors
Naismith.
and seniors are getting less and less love every year.
I think there was 2.
And not to mention, I believe the first 6 or 7 picks in the draft were all freshmen, which is a new record also. And
the
then
Knicks stopped that. But
the third reason, which a lot of people aren't even talking about, is Giles. Right. A lot of people thought at the beginning of last college season Giles would be a top 5 player, got hurt, slips in this draft, and the Kings get him. So, I mean, and plus they even got the kid from Jackson from North Carolina. They have 4 quality players.
No Cuzzo anymore, though.
No Cuzzo, yeah.
No.
You don't care.
You got to rebuild.
Not really.
But you think
they weren't a good team with him.
Is this a team? I mean, they're not a team. They're not a team that's going to make the playoffs.
Well, they traded.
Not yet. No.
They traded their 10 for the 15 and 20, right?
they
They traded to get 2 extra picks a little later. Those guys felt them, and they got Fox at 5. You know, that's a great.
I
That's a
agree
great
with
pick.
Donnie. I think Fox is a great pick at 5.
Great pick.
And by the way, you meant based on what you mentioned, that pick that the Kings traded was also actually the Trailblazers picked that up, and they also had a great draft, getting 2 of the best big men in the draft, Collins and Swanigan. Most people think are going to be great. Both actually. Collins definitely an all-star level player if he plays up to potential. Swanigan, great college player. They don't always translate, but he could be big time.
Right.
All right, so Donnie, I know you're a big Nets fan, right? You're a Nets fan. Are you a big Nets fan?
Used to be a bigger Nets fan. Jersey Nets days.
Why?
The move to Brooklyn.
So they moved closer, and you became less of a fan.
Those moves by Billy King they really driven me from the team, and
they just destroyed the franchise.
It's just completely. We're not going to have a competitive season until 2027.
Well, let me ask you.
Do you want a prediction?
Well, let me ask you because the Nets did do a little something. They did a little something the day of the draft, right? I think it was the day before, and they traded Brook Lopez, right? And they got in return Russell from the Lakers. So, is that a good move? You like it?
Well, they also gave.
I like it. Go ahead.
Yeah, on top of giving up Brook Lopez, they also gave up a pick in the draft, which they
Nets love
very
doing that.
scarce to begin with. So I'm not crazy about the move because they're not building towards anything right now. Russell,
He's young.
he already looks like a bit of a bust. I'm not going to make any long-term predictions about him yet.
I think he's pretty good.
I think he's worth a shot with the Nets.
He played good towards the end of last year.
I really like the trade.
Just saying
for
you
Nets.
think he's worth a shot. That's not
I'll put
confidence.
it no.
But go ahead.
I think Russell is better than who you'd get at the 27th pick. You said they gave up a first-round pick? That's what I'm saying. Well, when you look at it that way,
gave up
but
Brook
they also
Lopez.
gave the franchise
Brook
player.
Lopez is older.
Brook Lopez had 1 more year left. Was he going to sign with the Brooklyn Nets?
Probably not.
Probably not. But
So, and what's this year going to do for the Nets? Nothing.
You ask why I don't like our franchise players now. Jeremy Lin. That's why I don't like him.
Yeah, no. What do you mean? D'Angelo Russell's 20.
I like
21
Russell.
years old. He's 21 years old.
Yeah. He was the number 2 pick 2 years
You
ago.
could build around him.
You're
You could
talking
build
about
around him.
nothing but upside, though.
Right.
That's what you need.
But
you
need
can't
young
even
players.
tank right
You
now.
need young players to rebuild. You need young players.
You don't watch a team for nothing but upside.
No, but you need to rebuild around the guy.
But let me
just have
Brook
Lopez on your team forever.
Yeah, Brook Lopez, they won 10 games with Brook Lopez.
And he's not selling any tickets. Nobody cares about Brook Lopez anymore. He's boring.
None of them
doesn't
selling
grab
tickets.
rebounds.
They don't sell tickets in general.
I mean, watching him
when they were good, they didn't sell tickets.
he's I don't
win.
True.
I was with him. We tried to. We bought and we tried to sell them. We couldn't sell tickets. They were going to the playoffs. We couldn't sell them.
One thing I want to talk about too is the Celtics. The Celtics traded down, right? They traded the number 1 pick, and it did become Fultz, and they traded down to 3. I said it was a good trade last week. If they get Tatum, because I really like Tatum, I think he's going to be a really good pro.
Right.
So I think they did well. What do you guys think? I know we're going to get into maybe some Knicks later, but they had a chance. The Knicks had a trade out there, or supposedly they did. Nobody knows what's going on in Knicks.
There was rumors
anymore. There was rumors that the Celtics could have got Porzingis.
Yeah.
Do you think that they should have traded that pick and got Porzingis, try to win now, or did they do the right thing and draft Tatum? And what do you guys think? How did the Celtics do in the draft? Phil?
I think the Celtics did well in the draft. I can't speak to too much because you don't know exactly what the trade was. It was supposedly that the Jackson was asking for the number 3 pick, next year's Nets pick, and Jaylen Brown, who was the number 3 pick last year. So he was asking, and Jamison Crowder. So he was asking for a lot. I think the Celtics just didn't want to give it up. I think they had a good pick with Tatum. I think Tatum was a good.
They also grabbed the kid
pick.
Odelay from SMU, supposed to be pretty good.
Yeah,
nice. I mean, look, this all probably doesn't matter because who's going to win the championship next year?
the Warriors.
The Warriors or the
Cleveland.
Cavs? But some interesting moves.
Where do you think everyone's going with the Celtics? I'm sorry, the Clippers. You mentioned the Clippers. Paul's leaving. Well, he opted out. Blake Griffin opted out.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, the Clippers are going to be devastated. And
They're going to rebuild.
Paul might go to the Spurs. These great teams shouldn't have the amount of money to just add players to get better.
I got to tell you, I don't think that makes much of a difference. If Paul goes to the Spurs are just relevant and can maybe play with the Warriors. That's a big maybe.
Yeah, that's true.
But I don't think the Clippers can right now anyway.
The Clippers.
No,
he's not going.
no.
He's not. Neither of them are going back to the Clippers.
No.
They're done with the Clippers.
All right, let's wrap it up with just how the Knicks did. All right, so the Knicks
D+.
they get D+. So they took the Frenchman, all right, at 7. Thoughts? Good pick, horrible pick, another just disaster season ahead of us. What do you guys think? Chris, do you like this guy? Do you like the pick?
I mean, I don't know too much about him. I know that
I don't think
he's another
anybody
European.
Does. That's the issue.
Yeah, he's another European player. He played in France. I mean, he could be good. He could end up helping the team. But listen, no matter what, the Knicks are in shambles. It's going to take a long time for them to rebuild. I don't know if this is, going to be a piece that actually helps them in the future or not. Because once again, they take all these European guys. I mean, sometimes they pan out, sometimes they're disasters.
Well, that's what I think they were doing here. Is like you said, they're not anywhere close, right?
They're not anywhere close.
So they're basically playing the lottery here. They're going to take a guy who's not going to play. He might. What is he? 19, I think. He's not going to play for maybe
19,
2 seasons. All right, so they're
18.
taking a chance on him. They're hoping to hit the lottery. Mm-hmm. They didn't like what they saw at 7. They wanted to go with the guy that they don't know much about. And I watched some video. I mean, he looks long.
He's 6'5" and his wingspan is 7'1".
So
and they needed a point guard.
He's supposed to be a very good defender.
They need everything.
He's supposed to be a very
but
good
they've
defender.
needed a point guard for years, dude. Years they've needed a point guard.
Jose Calderon, Pablo.
And we don't know if this is the answer or not. But yeah,
we don't know. That's the whole question. We don't know much about him, but it'll be interesting. I don't know. All right, so that wraps up the NBA draft.
that's a bit for the Knicks.
Yeah,
D+.
Yeah, what's your grade for the Knicks, Phil?
It's tough to say. I give him. You know what? They could have took Monk, but
right.
I wasn't crazy. I mean, he's just a scorer. I don't think he fit well with Melo and Porzingis, so I'm not going to give it as harsh as D+. I'll go like B-, B. Would depend.
Yeah?
Maybe an incomplete. B-, maybe an incomplete. Let's see. Let's see how he pulls out. I don't know much about him. I don't think it was horrible to take a chance.
Well, Melo, I mean, he's going to be gone. Like,
why Melo? We'll get into Melo in a moment.
He's gone, dude.
All right, DB, grade for the Knicks?
I'd give him a C. I can't go too low, can't go too high. You have no idea what you're going to get out of this guy. I think they might get more production out of Dotson, who they drafted from Houston.
All right, exciting stuff. All right, our next segment. Are you kidding me? All right, this is the 3rd week we're doing this now.
Mm-hmm.
Are You Kidding Me is a segment that we came up with where one of the panels, says something that with the hopes of getting under the rest of our nerves, basically. Something that they think is true,
Crazy,
but they think is going to rile us up a little bit. So I started out with the ODB 3 weeks ago.
10 Clan ODB?
No.
2 weeks ago it was.
2 weeks ago.
And
last week
was me.
It was for Ventura, and he made a not so crazy statement about
guess
the
it wasn't that
Arizona
crazy,
Diamondbacks, who are still playing really well. And now we're going to kick it over to Mr. Sports Science, Dr. Sports Science.
You don't have to call me doctor, man. You
I
don't have to
want
call me
to.
doctor now.
Mr. Sports Science is nice.
Fine.
Dr. Cags.
And Dr. Cags is going
Could just be
to...
Phil, too. Could just be
The floor is yours for your Are You Kidding Me? Let's hear it.
Let's hear it.
We don't know what it is.
I wanted to
bash
kick
you
it with
apart.
the NBA. I wanted to stay with the NBA and stay with the Knicks because Mike mentioned a little bit about the whole KP. Was he going to get traded or not? And it just... I think that Jim Dolan, and I don't want it to be true, but I think it's true. I think Jim Dolan will give Phil Jackson another contract to be the GM again, and I think he's going to stay on for another 5 years or 3 years or whatever it may be, and he's going to stick with the Knicks. I don't think he's going to get fired. I think he's going to stay on, and he's going to keep running the Knicks.
So 5 more years of Phil Jackson.
I think it's going to be another contract. So let's say 5 years. This one ends. Let's say another 3-year contract. His contract ends in 2 more years.
Okay.
And then I think they're going to sign him to another one.
Wow.
Even though I don't think he's done anything right.
No,
I'm saying
right.
predicting that he's going to be signed to
Outside
another
of
contract.
Porzingis, of course.
Okay, so you're wrong, first of all, and I'm going to tell you why. Because even if the contract ends, even if Dolan wanted to, I think Jackson's done. I think this is it for him. I think when the contract is up, I don't think he wants anything to do. I think he's put himself in the situation that he wishes he did not.
Yeah.
And he wants out. He wants his legacy, whatever's left from the Lakers and the Bulls. He wants that
stay intact.
to stay intact, and it's already losing some of its luster. Mm-hmm. I think that he's going to walk away from that.
That's why I think he's going to try to stay on. Because
explain that to me.
Because his legacy has been damaged. He wants to try to salvage it.
This team is not salvageable.
Turn himself
out of a hole.
You don't tell me he's not
salvageable.
He's prideful and he wants to stay on. And I'll tell you from Jim Dolan re-signed Isaiah Thomas. So if Jim Dolan is going to re-sign Isaiah Thomas, he's sure as hell going to re-sign Phil Jackson. I think he's going to. I think Phil Jackson's going to stay on. He's going to desperately want to rebuild and rehab his legacy a little bit because of what you just said. It's taking a beating now.
But Phil, where does it end then? How many contracts?
I think he goes one
Dolan
more.
Will keep him
he goes one more.
Stay.
I think he goes
Until
one more. He's going to get paid a lot.
He's going to get 5 million.
The money's there. He's going to get paid a lot.
Matter.
Yeah, he's 71.
Really?
He's 71.
Looks great.
Looks great. He does look great. He does look great for 71. Except he's got that high chair because he's got the bad back. But I think that
he might age a lot in the next 2 years.
I think he's going to age a lot, and I think he's going to want to stay on to show that that the way he's running the team is the best way. And I think I think his pride's going to keep him in, and I think it's going to be horrible for the Knicks because I don't think he's done anything right except Porzingis. And he wanted to trade him, which was horrible. He wanted to keep trading him for reasons that I don't understand.
Yeah.
The only thing that I think he didn't come to the
they're having a little,
he didn't come to the exit interview.
here.
I'm not saying that was right by Porzingis, but get over it.
But what I'm saying, maybe
He told the whole team not to contact Porzingis. What are we in high school?
But that's what I'm saying. Maybe you're right. Maybe Phil Jackson does want to stay, but he's not. In 2 years, all right, we'll see what happens in 2 years. First, he got 2 years first, and I don't see them going really anywhere, making any improvement.
I agree with you.
Maybe a little bit. They
I agree
should
with
at
you.
least.
And
if they don't, he's gone.
And Jackson's going to say no. Jackson's going to say this is the way that He's going to say, look, they're going to finally get rid of Melo. Another reason why Melo wants to play for the Knicks is beyond me.
How many more years on the current contract?
2. This year and next year.
Yes, there's no way he's there in 7 years.
No, he's going.
He's not going to be there in 7 years.
I don't know if it's 5 years. I don't know if it's 5 years.
Then
he's going to sign another contract.
Then not so crazy.
He's
going to
sign another contract. I don't know what's going to. He's going to sign another contract.
Melo made a post a little while ago about him being better off somewhere else.
He is better off somewhere else. What he's still doing? Jackson's trying to torpedo
Melo. He said Melo wants to stay.
Why hasn't he got traded yet? He keeps saying, I want to play for New York. Phil Jackson's trying to torpedo Melo.
Well, because there's 4 teams he'll go to.
And he tried to torpedo Porzingis for reasons I don't understand.
Well, Porzingis, he's speaking out openly about dysfunctional
but he's not
Knicks.
Speaking out.
No, but he said it during the season. During the season, he talked about it a couple of times about the dysfunctional Knicks and how, nobody's on the same page. Phil Jackson's system's outdated, his offensive scheme, this, that, and the other thing. There's a lot of things going going on during the season that happened between them.
I think it's all about his. Phil Jackson's got this huge ego.
That's what I think's going to keep him there.
I don't even know why
he's got
the hell
a massive
he's got an ego. Because the teams that he coached were just monster teams. And what? Oh, he does his little Zen stuff. Oh, okay, that's his
yeah, but that's part of it. He also was a champion as a player.
Okay,
was he the leading reason that they were the champion?
No, he wasn't.
I mean, he's
give
got
you an
this
ego,
huge
though.
ego. So when Porzingis didn't want to meet for the exit interview, he gets upset, and then he throws it right back at him, and that's the position we're in now.
He told the rest of the team not to contact Porzingis.
They took him off the text message.
Yeah,
Porzingis out of the group
they
message.
took him. He told the rest of the team, "Don't contact this guy because he didn't show up." But you mentioned his ego. That's what's going to keep him here. Dolan's keeps. I'll give Dolan credit for that. He kept hands off. He paid for this guy to be there. He's going hands off. The one time he didn't keep his. The one time he meddled with Donnie Walsh, he lost Donnie Walsh. The only guy that should have ran the team.
Yeah.
And Phil Jackson's gonna have a massive ego that he's gonna want to stay one more time because he's gonna rip the Knicks down. And they're ripped down to begin with. They probably should be ripped down even more.
I hate the Knicks, man.
Yeah, I love the Knicks, and it just devastates me.
Barring a miracle. Barring a miracle, though.
Destroys me what's happening.
You know what I mean? He's gone. That's what I'm saying.
I'll watch. You watch. He's not going to be gone, man. I'm telling you.
They have to improve at a substantial clip.
No, I don't think
keep him around.
I don't think they have to improve to keep him. That's the thing. I think
that's crazy.
I think they're going to be able to keep. I think he's going to be able to stay and just say, "This is the direction we're going. We need time. We need time for the system to work." And Dolan's just going to believe him.
It's a lot of time.
We'll see.
It's very rare that a franchise, especially a franchise that's struggling, they try to trade their best player, who's this young guy who's in his first 2 seasons has been fantastic.
Yeah, he's very young. It's a guy to build around.
Can we talk about how crazy that was?
Other teams were shocked that he was on the market. I mean, first of all, he had a great rookie year, and you look at his stats last year, he improved in everything. I mean, he really became better.
You can't say that's that crazy, though. The Sixers have been flipping young players year after year. It just depends what you could get in return.
Yeah, but
it's not that crazy. It's a little crazy. Man.
They didn't really flip that young of players. They flipped it for picks. They kept getting picks. I don't think they flipped a guy on the level of Porzingis.
Fair enough.
They kept Embiid. They kept Simmons. They got a lot of good young players.
Either way, it's a mess.
It is an absolute mess. And he wanted to get rid of the one. He wanted to get rid of the one good thing he's done too. The one good thing he's done was
draft Porzingis.
He signed Noah, which has been going to be horrible for 3 more years.
Derrick Rose.
Luckily Derrick Rose.
He really didn't want to draft Porzingis though, Jackson.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm pretty sure there's a scout. I think his name was something Gaines. What's his name? I can't remember his name. Anyway,
no idea.
Well, supposedly there's somebody who really was pressing the issue on Porzingis, and Phil Jackson, I think, finally bought into the idea. Then he praised him throughout his first season, basically saying, "Oh, what a magical player is." But now all of a sudden he wants to trade him. So it's like I don't know. There's something wrong there.
All right, so Phil, I don't agree. You guys agree with Phil? You think Phil Jackson's here to stay?
Not the craziest thing.
I don't want him
to
be
a couple of years. I don't think he has nearly as many years as you think he has.
I think he's going to walk away from the situation. I don't think you're wrong in saying that the Knicks might want to re-sign him, but I think he'll be gone.
I don't think they should want to resign.
But anyway, let's
Moving
get basketball. I'm done with basketball for now.
Done with it.
All right, let's talk baseball. It is baseball season. They're actually playing games right now. There's games every night,
Tons
which is
of
pretty
games.
cool. So I think we're going to start with the Mets.
Mm-hmm.
So the New York Mets.
The New York Mets.
We got a big fan on the. Oh, there he is. Thor
himself has walked in.
Idiot. No, what are you doing? Keep it on. Back on.
You gotta keep it on for the Mets.
Where did
Dude,
Thor
are you
go?
kidding me?
Are you crazy?
Really sit on this seat.
Yeah, Donnie, I forgot you were a Met fan.
The least comfortable thing ever.
I'm surprised.
Hey, look, is it itching you really bad?
It's awful.
Nah, you look great though. This is like if Syndergaard went.
How is it made out of a
This is like if Syndergaard went to like a wedding or something. This is what he would look like. I don't know if
He would wear his hat
to the wedding.
In case you guys didn't know, I play for the Mets. He'd wear his jersey with a tie.
So we actually got a Mets fan here today.
Yeah.
And it's DB. So let's start with you, okay? So the Mets, GM came out and said that basically they're going to be looking to sell.
Correct.
So
Alderson said that.
Let's start with you, DB. Is it the right decision for the Mets to try to sell off some of their players right now?
Yeah, at this point it is. But the problem is what they actually have to sell and what they could get in return. I know that one of the top names on the list is Addison Reed, the de facto closer while Familia's out there. They're not going to use him as a closer in the future. He's not carrying a large contract. Other teams need closers. A couple teams in their own division. And, he'd be the first to go. But then where do you go from there? The rest of their bullpen's a disaster like a lot of other teams in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Their outfield is either signed like Cespedes to a large contract or old like Granderson. I mean, you're not going to get much in return for Bruce. I'd say Bruce would move on a rental.
Why aren't you going to get a lot for Bruce, though? He's got 20 homers. He's actually having his best season ever.
For Bruce.
You could, but
you could actually get the most for Bruce out of all these guys.
This is actually the best time to trade him. He's having his best season.
People are, and that's actually how they got him a couple of years ago. So it's a rough.
What do you think, Chris? Time to sell?
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to make the playoffs. I'm sorry, but
no, I think they're like 10 games under 500, right? Is it around there?
They're in fourth place at 34 and 41. Yeah, they're 11 games back from Washington.
In a very top-heavy NL this year too.
So, is there anything else they could sell on that team?
Yeah,
definitely Bruce.
I mean, Bruce is the best piece they could sell.
They should trade Duda.
Think they should trade
Duda's also a piece.
Well, Paul,
I
remember you're a big fan of Duda, right?
Piece. There's a low ceiling to what he's going
I know,
to get back.
Whatever you can get from these guys, I mean, like, Bruce is the guy you got to get. Maybe you bundle them a couple of them together and you get a better piece.
A nice little package deal?
That's what I'm seeing, a little package deal. I mean, really, he's the best one. Then you got Granderson. I mean, what are you going to get for Granderson?
I just looked over at Donnie.
What are you going to get for Granderson? Duda has a little value, like Donnie said.
There's nothing to be greedy about, though. They may get 1-2 prospects
Neil
back.
Walker, I guess they could trade.
He's not.
Listen to the guys that's trying to sell.
I know, but
it's a terrible roster to sell people
So,
on.
Donnie, I'll ask you.
Yes.
Would you try to sell Matt Harvey?
Yes, absolutely.
We talked about this a little while ago.
Absolutely, and it's not even all Matt Harvey's fault. They have too many young pitchers
and stuff.
There's too many young pitchers that they're going to have to sign eventually. Sorry.
No, that's my mistake.
There's just too much of a roster of young pitchers that they're going to have to eventually sign.
He's the first one to become a free agent.
Of course, yeah.
Off of arbitration.
And they got the best look at him, and it's not a pretty look. Yeah, I think that it's time to let go of him if they can get something again. It's a 5+ ERA.
You think they'll be able to get anything from him now that he's hurt right now?
Yeah,
not much. No, not much at all. That's why I didn't mention his name.
That's what you wouldn't. Yeah, you wouldn't try to see what he can do next year to rehab. Maybe trade him at the middle of the deadline. That's what I would try.
I would think you'd have to.
Yeah.
You're selling him. You're selling him at a low at this point.
Very
at an extreme low.
You think you can go lower than this right now, though? That's the thing.
How much low can you go?
That's what I mean.
He's injured. He had a horrible year. I mean,
he missed practice. He's been crying about Adriana Lima or whatever it was for a couple of weeks.
He's dating Adriana Lima.
No, they broke up, and that's why he didn't come to practice.
She left him for Julian Edelman.
Yeah, squad Julian Edelman.
She wants
champion.
To go to a winner.
She wanted to go to a winner. Paul, how do you feel about that? I'm sorry, Paul. I gotta kick it to the producer from no, not even the Met fan. That Matt Harvey's girlfriend, a New York Met, left him for a New England Patriot and caused Harvey to miss games and be depressed about it.
All right, great.
Good job.
All I can say is typical. It's a typical New York Met, New York Knicks. Like the teams I root for, you get things off the field making more stories than on the field. So
of course,
just used to it in this market.
Adriana Lima, I didn't know that though. I'm kind of impressed by that.
I love her, by the way.
That's why he was whacked one night.
Couldn't sound any
show
creepier
up to,
when you just said that. But what'd you say, Chris?
I said, remember when what happened with Harvey, where he was whacked? He missed. What was it?
He's like drinking on the golf course. And
that's because. We talked about it
on a game day.
A month or two ago.
Of course.
Well, he went out late the night before.
Oh, that was it. That was the Andrew Lima thing.
Right.
He was depressed, so he went out that night. He missed the game. Adjust the bet hat, Donnie. There you go.
I mean, to back him up,
so
I mean, I've been hungover. I've been hungover while golfing, and it's not. I wouldn't be able to make the game.
You're not getting paid to pitch for a living.
All right, that's enough Mets. I'm done.
What else?
Let's.
Oh man.
All right. We're talking Yankees. Do you have like an Aaron Judge hat or something? All right, we're talking Yankees.
He just becomes 6 foot.
Curly shitty hair.
We're talking Yankees. They're free falling right now. Right? Yeah. We've been talking how great the season's been going, and it's like too good to be true. and it caught up to them. Right, they're 2-10 in the last 12 games.
Wow,
So
That's bad.
I
man.
mean,
that's very bad.
let's start it with Chris. Are the Yankees still for real, or are we seeing the real Yankees right now?
Well, I mean, I've been saying it for the longest time now that
What you been
let's
saying?
watch out because everybody was high on the Yankees. Oh, they're so good. They're going to win the division now. Blah blah blah. They were doing great. They were 38 and whatever. What 23 was it? 24? 38 and 24.
They were 38-1. No, I'm just kidding. They weren't 38.
Something like that.
They
But
were like 15
Not
games.
bad.
and
over
I'm like,
500.
and I was saying, listen, a lot of guys are really hot right now that don't normally or should regress. I said, we really haven't been hit with the injury bug. I said this all different weeks, and then I said, well, watch out for a big skid because that's really could affect us in a negative way. And then here it comes, especially after that West Coast trip. I don't think we did too well then, and that's where it all started.
There he is. There's Judge. Take a look. At him.
I think they're going to bounce back from this.
He's
Obviously,
kind of handsome, Aaron Judge, don't you think?
Uh,
All
No,
right.
you sound like an asshole.
He's got
No,
the
there he
straight
is
hand,
now,
he's got the
Judge.
straight
There
hand
we go.
gap too.
Yeah, he needs
does.
to get his teeth fixed. But
Nah, he's not
when
gonna
he
get
starts making some
No,
money,
I
he'll
like
get
Judge.
his
He's a nice guy, but he's a nice guy.
You don't
Did you
know.
meet
He's
him?
not a nice
No,
guy.
of course. I've seen him do tons of interviews and everything. He's like Jeter a lot.
Yeah,
you know?
he does
Say
actually.
that.
That.
Yeah, you're right.
But yeah, I
Today's
mean,
Jeter's birthday, I think, by the way.
you can't
Happy
get
birthday.
swept.
Do we
You can't
celebrate
get swept by the
Jeter's birthday?
Oakland A's, dude. Like that's bad.
terrible.
Four-game
That was tough.
sweep.
Four-game sweep.
Then they
Like-
came home and couldn't win one of the series against the Angels and
Well,
the
they won
Rangers.
one against the Angels at home.
And the only game they won against the Rangers, they had to
Come back in the ninth.
in the ninth. Yeah.
Right.
All right, Phil.
Now you got the White Sox of 4. You got to take 3 out of 4 here at least.
6-14 this year against the AL.
They're winning
West.
3-1 right now.
Well, that's all in the
They're
last
winning
2
3-1.
weeks.
Tanks.
Phil, are you still thinking this team is a playoff team, or are you starting to rethink it?
It's getting a little tougher, but I'm still gonna say they're a playoff team. You got 2 wild cards. They started out good. I think they'll absolutely be fighting for one of those wild card spots. I think they'll at least get one of the wild card spots.
I think they're still going to win the division.
I was going to
I
say
mean,
they
they're
might still win the division. I'm not
They're still tied with
writing
Boston for the division.
I'm
That's
not
the crazy
writing off
thing.
the division. You're asking me if they're going to make the playoffs. I think they'll definitely still make the. I don't want to say definitely, but I think they'll still make the playoffs.
They cleared the
Because
division
you
for the
go
Red
to the
Sox,
you go to the
Yankees,
wild
right?
card just for that, but I think they could still win the division.
I mean,
I don't think they're
Tampa's
look.
actually.
Chris
The
mentioned it a few
treading
shows
water.
ago how they haven't been injured, they hadn't been injured, and they were they had 5 starters for the longest time.
Yeah.
For like 2 months, they
Yeah.
just only had 5 stars, which is amazing. And then they can't,
Things
then,
started. Yeah.
It's crazy to
Glaber
think
was
that
the worst one, actually.
Sabathia got hurt, and that kind of threw everything off with Sabathia.
He's having a
being
good
hurt.
year.
I know
Yeah,
now.
he was kind of he started to become one of your most reliable pitchers.
Right.
Like who they needed to get to in a losing streak. All right, Sabathia's pitching.
Now it's
All of a
Luis
sudden.
Sessa.
And their problem
That's
is
bad.
you cannot have inconsistent starting pitching.
Nope.
Pineda throws a gem. Pineda just gets lit up yesterday. Tanaka will throw 8 innings, 1 run, and then just gets smoked another game. It's just
Well, that's the thing. Tanaka needs to turn things around, and if Tanaka turns things around,
Well, he did. in his last
yeah, I
start.
mean, last start was
He
good.
only pitches well against good pitchers. He pitched good against Sally. He pitched good against Darvish. I don't understand.
Well, that's a Japanese thing.
What, the Darvish thing?
It's like a motivational
It's like
thing. I guess.
they get really hyped.
They got hyped for the big starts. But that's what I'm saying. If Tanaka starts pitching like Tanaka, then things will start evening out
But
a
here's
little
the
bit
thing.
more.
He pitched really well in his last start, and it's like now he's starting to maybe trend in the right direction, but everything else is going wrong.
He's going south, right?
I mean, look, I'm looking at
Glaber
the
was the
lineup.
worst.
Dude, I'm looking at the lineup right
Tell
now.
me the lineup.
Remember how good the lineup was when everybody was hitting? and it was
Happy,
amazing?
yeah, right.
Right now,
What is it?
in today's game, Tyler Austin's hitting 5th.
Yeah. Well, they needed to bring up Tyler Austin.
Okay,
Because
but-
Carter is
cut Chris-
horrible.
they cut
yeah.
Chris Carter.
Carter was horrible.
He struck
Yeah.
out and they cut him.
yeah.
Horrible.
I'd rather throw Donnie up there than Chris Carter. I agree with
Yeah,
that.
exactly. So that's why
Short
Tyler
porch
Austin.
and right, forget it.
25
Sick
home
lefty, yeah.
25
lefty.
home runs.
I'm good for at least 26. Yeah,
26.
I'm sorry.
home
I
runs.
sold you so at 25.
250.
certainly did.
About 250.
I mean, listen, the
I
one
look
good
like
thing,
211, but
the one good thing is they've been able to stay on top of the division, at least getting like a share of it, even through this. They need to start winning now, though. They definitely need to, and the injuries are not helping them. But at least they did get Ellsbury back. I mean, I'm not a big Ellsbury fan.
I
But at
am,
least,
but-
at
does
least
nothing
he
for
got
me.
healthy.
See, I know you guys don't. I mean, but you're right. I mean, the thing is,
Well,
all they got to
Hicks
do is
got hurt,
stay.
so it's-
They got to stay even keel. They got to try to take 2 out of 3 here and there. They got to just stay even because right now they're still in first. It's not like they lost a big lead or you know what I mean. I mean, they lost a big lead, but it's not like they fell behind. In the race.
No, but
they're
they let-
still tied for first.
they let Boston back in.
I know they
though,
let Boston back
and
in.
that is
Well, that's
their
going to happen when you
competition.
lose 10 out of 12.
Yeah, they're lucky they're not like the Red Sox haven't been playing great.
Yeah.
They're lucky they're not like 3 games.
That
three
they're
games
It
still
back.
makes
in
you
the
a
lead
lot
in the
less
division.
confident, though. Because Boston's
Boston's
a very
due
good
for a
young
run,
team, and good
They're due
pitching
for a major
did
run.
underperform a little bit.
Boston.
If you say that, the Yankees are due to bounce back.
Yes, a little
Absolutely.
bit, but they
There's a
could
chance.
they could easily get swept in a series in between all that. You know,
They
got to
be White Sox. After
It's
the White
baseball,
Sox, they're
anything.
going to Houston.
It's baseball. It's a marathon. There's a lot of time left.
Yeah.
So,
But to go with Chris
I'm
was
not
saying,
extremely worried.
sorry, we'll go with Chris was saying. If you want to think of one thing, if it's a 10-game stretch or a 12-game stretch, that's like one game in football.
Right.
It's like they lost one game in football. You don't panic if you lose one game.
There you go.
well,
all
you
right,
stop
but then-
panicking when you lose.
I really don't
but
know
then
to
by
make
the
heads or
same-
tails of that comment, but okay.
But then by the same token, if you win 10 out of 12, it's like winning one game in football.
Exactly.
What happens if you go like 5-5, 6-6?
It's nothing.
It's a tie?
It's a tie in
It's just-
football.
No,
Wow.
but all I
Wow.
said was 10 games in baseball is equivalent to one game in
Yeah,
football.
I liked it.
Right,
That's
but
all
if
I'm
you
trying
go,
If you go 5-5, then you're just even. I guess you're just. It's like.
this analogy's making very little
No,
sense.
it's
to me.
awful. Yeah.
But wasn't my
Move on.
analogy. My analogy was that
sorry, I tried to give you
10
an
games in baseball is equivalent to one game in football as far as schedule wise. That's the only
Right.
analogy I
yeah,
made.
we know how math
I
works.
thought he was trying to.
I'm not talking about the wins losses.
I thought when you made the
I'm saying
analogy,
10 games. What I was saying is 10 games is as important as one game in football.
Exactly.
The importance
That's
level.
kind of what I
Yeah.
You're
just
just
said
doing a
then.
fraction problem. I really don't see how they add up.
That's all I
otherwise.
said 2 weeks ago. He brought it up. I didn't even bring it up. I don't know what the hell you want me to
I
tell
was
you.
trying to.
So why are you
I was trying to
reiterating?
kick you some analysts that you
I'm
gave.
reiterating because I didn't say it has to do wins or losses. I said 10 games is equivalent to one game in football. That's all I said.
And you're saying it's not
So
that
much more
important.
could
You're
occur,
saying
though.
it's
So
not
many
that
more
important.
injuries. Yeah.
Yeah, 20 games. Now you're talking, you
2 games.
2 games in football.
Oh, I get
But
it
now
now.
you're talking that if let's say the Yankees lose 15 out of 20, that's bad.
Wait, what
that's
is-
What is
serious
that? What's
trouble.
1.5 games?
Wait,
in
what's
football?
30
I'm
games,
not,
though?
I'm not understanding.
That's
Come
not
on.
what I said. Oh my
all
god!
right. Let's
Move
stop
on,
with
move
baseball.
on with
Well, actually, we're
non-
not going to stop with baseball. We're going to stop with the Yankees. I'm going to talk a little All-Star game.
My hand's frozen.
What's wrong with you, bro?
Freezing in here.
It's not that cold.
I don't know
There's
why.
an ice box in here.
Diabetes.
Let's go.
Donnie asked for it to be at
Bad
least.
circulation.
Donnie wanted it 41 degrees. That's
Well,
what he
because
asked
Donnie
for.
was
Still too
wearing
warm.
And whatever
Don-
Donnie wants, Donnie gets.
Donnie was wearing a Thor hat. It was
Donnie
very
want
hot in
big
there.
D, big D.
All right, so let's talk All-Star game. All-Star game's coming up. So I think it's time we can finally talk about who deserves to be in the All-Star game. So let's just kind of run down the line, and you guys can talk about who you think deserves to be in the MLB
Let's do
All-Star
each
game.
position. What do you want to do?
I mean, you could just highlight some players that you think deserve to be there.
Well,
I mean, you don't have to talk about every guy like the guys.
We
that
could do
we
it
know.
quick.
Yeah,
Like
okay.
catchers.
All right, so let's start it off with DB over there in the corner. So who do you think who's on your roster? Your MLB All-Star game roster?
Starters.
Oh, you want to go with starters?
Yeah, not like
Just
the whole
starters.
roster.
No,
Yeah,
no,
the
no time
roster's
for
huge. Yeah.
All right. I mean, there are certain highlights. Again, I would, of course, Paul Goldschmidt. I think he's going to wind up being the MVP,
Right.
despite what the analyst thinks.
Lamb.
Let's see.
Lamb.
Are we going by
Maybe-
position? What's happening?
Yeah.
Well,
do you
no,
want to go
he's-
around with it, or do you just want to like
Just
broad
run off
thoughts?
some names. Yeah.
Oh, that's what. Okay.
All right. Maybe I'll go with position just in general. Second base. Daniel Murphy again stringing
I know
together a
who you're talking about.
fantastic year.
I'm
well, I
with
was
you
just
on
going to go just
Yeah.
You're
right
not
down
sure
the
about
list.
that?
Let him do his thing. He's an
Oh.
NL guy. He likes to talk
He
about
is
the
an
NL
NL guy.
first.
And he has to talk about Murphy, you know.
All right, so you like Murphy?
Posey, obviously a catcher, right? Are we all agreement on that?
I
in the
agree
NL?
with that.
I got Posey at catcher too.
It's clear.
Are we
Donnie,
going position by
Posey-
position?
It sounds like it's become
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
What's
first
that?
base,
Just
he said
confused.
Goldie.
Now you're confused. I'm confused. You asked Donnie position and catcher. I
Do
think
we
you
all-
said Goldschmidt.
I didn't ask catch.
Let's just go position, maybe. It's
All right.
Just go.
randomly me throwing
So
it out.
Do we all agree with the NL Posey, Goldschmidt,
Yes.
Murphy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, I got
I
that
think
too.
Zimmerman could easily be the starting, but I did have Goldschmidt out.
He'll be there, he'll be
Based
there,
on
but-
pedigree and
It's
a
a
lot
shame
of things.
Freeman was on.
I-
Freeman probably would have been there if he didn't get hurt.
I
but-
do think there's
That's
something to
tough.
being that consistently
saying
good,
him.
though. And
Yes, I give it a
Goldschmidt having to be
Goldschmidt.
that
I give it
guy.
a Gold.
Yeah.
I would vote for Goldschmidt too.
All
but
right,
I think
let's talk about shortstop because we could probably debate about that one. What do you guys? Who do you got for the NL shortstop?
I have Seager.
You have Seager.
So do I.
yeah, I'd have to go with Seager. I mean, what's crazy is that Zach Cozart is
That's
having
my
his
pick,
out
baby.
of this world year.
Right.
Not as many games. He's been hurt a little bit, but I'd still put him up there. Seager's having a great year
And
also. though.
Cozart's leading right now. He's leading the shortstop.
The vote?
Well, they get people to come out, that crowd at Cincinnati, when
Yeah.
they have a good team.
I could see that because
I
he's
remember a
batting
couple of years ago,
320.
yeah, they had a lot
His
of
OPS
guys.
is a lot higher than Seager's.
What's
But
his
he's played-
OPS? 'Cause
his
I know
OPS
Seager has
his-
400 on base.
His
percentage, I think it was.
OPS, Cozart is 966, and Seager's is 908. It's 60.
All right, but I mean, this guy's having a great
Almost
season. I
60
think you
points.
should reward him. I don't know.
No,
feel
I
like-
think Seager deserves it though, because I know you wanted to do Cozart, but first of all, Cozart has played 58 games. Seager's played 73.
Yeah, it's so many less.
So,
all right.
In 73 games to do that, after a Rookie of the Year campaign, Cozart's coming out of nowhere. You know,
the fact that the numbers are close and he's played that many fewer games is...
No, I know. That's interesting, right? But at the same time, you know, the guy did it last year. He's doing it again. He deserves the starting ballot, I think, in my opinion.
All right, so
I'd have to agree.
let's move to third base. Lamb? I got Lamb.
I have Arenado.
I mean, you know, I want to say Lamb, my favorite player, but Arenado, I mean, it's very close. I have them both together. If I was going to vote, I'm going to vote Lamb because I like Lamb.
I got to make sense of this. Wait a second. Last week,
I think he's going to win MVP.
Last week you said he was going to win MVP.
No, but I'm saying who
this week
deserves
he's not
to start?
making the All-Star game. He's not even starting the All-Star
Could you
game.
listen for a goddamn... Unbelievable.
It doesn't make any sense.
Of course it makes sense. I said the guy is going to win MVP at the end of the season.
Second half.
This is. I said he's going to. I actually said that. I exactly said he's going to have a really strong second half. So this half, there's reasons why Arenado should start at third. A lot of reasons. I mean, Arenado's been around for a while. He's been doing it for 4 years. The pedigree's there. Yeah. Well, Lamb's also a great fielder.
Sure, Arenado's a great fielder.
Arenado is definitely the guy this year.
Right. I mean, Arenado has the full package. Arenado. You know, who deserves it? I think Arenado, but I would vote for Lamb because I love Lamb, and he leads league in RBIs, but Arenado leads in other categories. He has a lot more doubles, things like that.
You can't go
honorable mention to Shaw, who's having a
I wrote that down. That was ridiculous. What do you have?
All right,
I agree with you. That Milwaukee, 15 homers, batting 289.
All right, we got to move to outfield.
263 at bats. I mean,
we got to move to outfield. I have
too much shorter.
Harper, Stanton, and Blackman.
I have Harper, Ozuna, and Blackman.
That's good. That was my tough decision between Stanton and Ozuna.
I thought about that too. I gave Ozuna.
Very similar numbers. Ozuna's numbers are a little bit better, but
that's kind of wanted to give it to. I wanted to reward him for having that great of a year.
That's very nice.
If I was voting, you know, I think he cares what I'm going to do for him or not. Ozuna, if you're out there,
Marcel
Ozuna, if you're out there, it's for you, man.
You have Ozuna as fan.
He loves his fan.
You have him in fantasy, right?
I don't think he speaks English, but.
You have him, right, in fantasy?
No such as on more.
Yeah.
No such as on more.
19th round.
I actually have, because he counts as a left fielder in MLB.com.
Ozuna,
Cody, shut up. Cody Bellinger. I have Cody Bellinger. We don't have time for this bullshit.
Disrespectful.
Cody Bellinger. I have Cody Bellinger left. Because he counts as a left fielder on MLB.com as far as stats. And then, you know, I have Blackman like you, Boo, and Harper.
And I mean,
Blackman and Harper is a clear cut.
Blackman, Harper, and Ozuna.
I think the only
definitely.
reason that some of us didn't mention Bellinger is because he wasn't on the.
I mean, the guy's just too high.
Can someone bring that up? That MLB does not have Bellinger on the All Star ballot.
He's got to be there.
He's got the at-bats to qualify, yes?
He
should,
right?
Yes.
He's got the most home runs in the league.
Yeah.
No, well, I mean, that's because he's hitting them at a record pace, though.
But still, he should qualify.
Even vote
and he'll be there, too, though, because Harper had the same treatment.
But you can't vote for him to be a starter. That's insane. You can't vote for him to be a starter.
I guess you can't. Yeah.
All right, so he's my DH.
I kept looking for him everywhere. Yeah, he's my DH.
We got to move on. Starting pitchers. We don't have time.
All right, starting pitcher for the NL.
I have
Scherzer.
I have Kershaw.
Scherzer's the best pitcher in baseball right now.
All right,
I have Kershaw.
Let's talk AL quick around the diamond. I have Sanchez, Smoke, Castro, Correa, Sano.
Correa, I have the same thing, but I have Altuve. I did like Castro. It was up in the air.
Who's your third baseman?
Altuve. Sano. I got Sano.
I got completely different than you guys.
Okay, what you got?
Salvador Perez, Justin Smoke. Well, I got Smoke.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Where there's smoke, there's fire.
Altuve. I think that's clear. And then Jose Ramirez and Carlos Correa.
Altuve's not having the year he had last year. So
I was surprised.
Doesn't matter. He's still hitting 320. Still leading second basemen in runs scored. I think he even might have a higher OPS than Castro.
Okay.
I'll look at it right now.
I could understand going that way.
And I would agree with your names. I would just throw Bogarts in there.
All right.
Possibly, yeah. Back up to Correa. I mean, Correa's got to be the starting shortstop.
Outfield?
No? I put a lot of weight on average. Sorry,
let's talk outfield so we can move on, all right?
I do.
Okay.
My outfield, Judge, obviously nobody's going to disagree with that, so I think we all got that one.
Yeah, we all got that.
Then I got Trout because his numbers are still good enough to be an all-star. If he decides that he comes back
that he can play, yeah.
Then I think he should be playing, and everybody wants to
obviously, I think we all agree with that, too.
And then I have Avisail Garcia, who's doing really
left fielder.
Nice season for the Chicago White Sox. So
wow, Avisail. I'm surprised.
What about George Springer? I have George Springer. Sorry. I have Judge. I have Judge, Trout. I have Garcia if Trout doesn't play as injury replacement. I have Springer. Springer's fine. I'm surprised you don't have Springer. 22 home runs, 47 RBIs, a lot of runs scored.
I don't have
on the
Springer
best team in baseball. Surprised you got. Oh, I have Springer.
Okay.
All right.
I got Justin Upton in left.
You have Upton over Springer?
Springer doesn't count as left fielder. He's a center fielder.
You pick three outfielders,
They do not go
dude.
based on that.
I know, but
three
I do it.
outfielders.
I mean, I did it based on the.
But that's who
the
you
actual
vote for. You
position.
just pick three outfielders.
Well, obviously, then I would put Springer in left.
Okay,
But I
well,
mean,
I didn't know,
based off
obviously.
the actual left fielders that
He's a
actually play left
naturalist.
field, I would say Justin Upton.
But it's just outfielder.
Wait, can he play right though?
I mean, but that's how it's listed as stats in MLB.com.
Yeah, but if you go to MLB All Star Ballot, it's just pick three outfielders.
I haven't voted yet, so I wait till the
Fair
end.
enough. Fair enough.
But anyway, I
But
say
so you're
Upton,
taking Springer.
Upton/Springer, whatever. I like Upton.
Upset
So,
at me.
he's having a great year. And then you got
No, but not,
center
not compared
field.
to Springer.
Well, I'm not comparing him to Springer right now. I just said that. Jesus Christ, this kid. So Lorenzo,
You're
center,
hot today. What's
center
going on
field.
here?
Because I'm trying
What's
to talk
happening with you?
Mike Trout, obviously center field, but I think if Trout doesn't play, I'd go Kane or Benintendi,
Okay.
and then right field Judge, obviously.
I like the Kane and Benintendi.
All right, Donnie, any
by the
last
way.
words?
George Garcia and Springer.
All right.
Very simple.
And real quick,
Man.
AL starter.
What?
AL starter.
I think it's got to be.
Sale. I say Sale. I don't want to say
I
Vargas.
was saying
I'm
Irvin
sorry.
Santana. I was actually.
I was going to say Irvin
Yeah.
Santana,
I was
too.
thinking Keuchel too, but I was
Okay.
going
Keuchel's
Sale.
hurt, though.
I know, but I was going Sale.
Sale's
I think
got way
Keuchel's
more
in there though.
strikeouts,
I go
but-
Sale. Yeah, just
I'll go on the
amazing amount,
pedigree.
yeah.
I like a good story. Irvin Santana. I think
He
is
likes
that.
a good
All right,
story.
Donnie
Like
likes a good
I wanted to
story.
reward
He likes a
Ozuna.
good story.
I wanted to
Twin
reward
starter.
Ozuna. He's got a good. He likes a good story. Chris is just mad.
I
at
know you.
everybody
I
right
know
now.
you guys didn't do closes, but I'm going to say Keg Krimble in the AL and Greg Holland in the NL.
Can you
I
vote
don't
for
know who
closers?
Maybe
Grimble is,
Jansen.
but
Can you vote for closers?
I don't know. I haven't voted yet.
no, you don't at all.
I just put them down. I said, "Who's the best closers?"
All right.
I gave you credit for Kane though. Kane was a good one.
Anyway.
Kane's good. He has a great.
All right,
year.
we got to move it along, fellas.
Go ahead.
So next up is fantasy. Real quick, we're just gonna introduce our Bridgeside Sports Fantasy FanDuel that we do every Monday night. If you're interested,
do it for a
there's a
couple
link
weeks.
up on Facebook. It's just on Monday nights. If you want to
Crashing
join and compete against us, we'd appreciate that. Up on the screen, we have our lineups that we submitted tonight. So let's real quick just talk about strategy for your FanDuel lineup, and let's start with Phil.
I won last week. You
Oh,
told me
my
you're gonna give me
bad,
credit.
my
No,
bad.
it's all right. It's all right. It's all good. I understand. You know, Chris is getting
I
mad
need
at
some
me.
water
You want to
over
give me a
here.
little credit.
I need
It's
some
okay.
water.
I was able to sneak it out last week. Donnie, that was really nice of you, by the way, to just give up your order like that. We'll start. Donnie and I, we were talking about before. I picked Gio Gonzalez as well. We had a
Absolutely.
good game. The Cubs have been down.
43 right now.
And he was facing Eddie Butler. We thought it would be a good matchup for a win, and we were completely wrong. Eddie Butler's spinning a gem right now, so
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
But 43 points. He's out of the
Gem.
game. He threw 43 points, so he had a good game. I had
Nobody had
Lindor as well. I tried to spend on Mazzara. I spent the money on Bellinger, and I tried to stay cheap in the outfield. I went with Ian Desmond. I did want to go Puig, cheap. He's a cheap player for like 14. Has 14 home runs, but he's day to day, and we had the early slate. So if I picked him, I was gonna. And if he wasn't in the lineup, I would have been out of player. So I switched to Desmond, who I think is a good player at the price.
Yeah. He's
Samar just not having a good year. I know he K's a lot of guys, but he's not having a good year.
Yeah.
So I like the matchup. I did kind of look at what Mike used to say. Lindor's batting 1, Mazzara bats 3. I had Castro as well. He bats 2. He's had a goose egg for me right now.
Yeah, he's got
Want to
a-
give a shout out to Pepino 68, who's in the lead right now for 112 points. But I got the most innings remaining. So
He's
I'm
got
just
all his
trying-
guys pitching.
I'm
playing
going
though.
for a repeat. But that's kind of just what I was thinking when I picked. And I wanted to spend the money on Bellinger, who's been out of this world hot.
All right, Chris, what did you do?
Well, I'm in last place currently. So
What
I
did you
didn't
do
good.
wrong?
Well, I went cheap with the pitcher. I went with Herman Marquez. Figured
didn't pitch
they're
yet.
at. Yeah, he didn't even pitch yet. That's the thing. He's at San Francisco. Weak lineup. Great place to pitch. So I went with him so I could stack up hitting a little bit, but it's not really working out. Only Sanchez. I got Sanchez at catcher, who's got 6 points. Abreu at first. He's got 3. Castro's doing nothing. I got Chris Bryant. I went heavy. The only thing I went low on was shortstop. I actually got Tim Anderson on Chicago White
Me
Sox.
too.
Oh, you did too?
Yeah.
I figured, against the lefty, he might get a couple of hits, stolen bases. And then my outfield, I went pretty heavy. Blackman, I went Harper, and Goodwin.
The thing
I know you got a good one too, right, Boo?
The thing that
Yeah.
kills you is when, and you got to spend money on people. When you
Yeah.
spend money on guys, you spend big money on Harper and Bryant, and they give you 3 points combined.
Right, exactly.
That's the killer.
I mean, Blackman hasn't gone yet.
Yeah, but you still got Blackman.
And
on
you're
the wings,
right.
but-
You know what the thing is? You don't always have to, spend all your money. You could actually make a lineup and have $500 left over. It's not a big deal. I mean, you want to spend. No, you want to. In this type of league, you want to spend all your money.
Of course,
But in
yeah.
other, if you're making a lot of teams, let's say, you don't need to spend all your money.
Well, why not?
Because you want to make different combinations.
But don't you
want
wanna-
just those top guys.
Don't you wanna
the top
use
You
that
want the
guys
most
get.
value, though.
Don't you want to
Yeah,
use
you
that
want the most value.
$500?
But this isn't always right about value. Their
Agreed,
prices aren't always
Yeah,
who
but you
the
got-
most valuable player.
But we have to work with them. Right?
All right,
I mean, you work with them.
Let's
yeah.
talk Donnie, because Donnie is actually... Oh, Cags, you
In
just
fifth,
passed Donnie.
yeah.
But Donnie, what did you
Oh,
try to
wonderful.
do?
Bumped up to third. So.
I tried to go a little bit more balanced because I went heavy and light last week and it did nothing for me.
Mm-hmm.
I picked up Gio Gonzalez, like Cags mentioned earlier. Great game.
Yeah, he's pitching.
I went with a bunch of guys balanced as far as price goes that could provide power, and that's where I tried to go this week. So I went with Wieters, Belt, who hasn't played yet, Daniel Murphy at second base, Sano, Trevor Story at shortstop.
no.
It's sort of low end of the value because
Yeah.
he's having a
Bad year.
subpar year, but
You still have 4 guys to go, so
no,
it's
absolutely.
very early.
And then Bradley on the lower end again, but these guys are all middle of the road prices. Hunter Pence again, right in the middle there, and then Blackmon, who would have been on the higher end,
Right, that's
of
like
the
the
middle.
highest guy?
But I really didn't go too high on anybody. I think Murphy would have been the highest price, but he's still he's
4,000.
yeah, it's
pricey,
not really
but
pricey, but not
problem-
the
yeah.
high end of the middle. I would say
So
though.
you
It's
went
not
middle
over
of the road.
top.
You went
Yeah.
middle of the road across the board.
All right, and
That's what I try to do.
What I
Yeah.
did was I actually tried to go with a pitcher that might win you. Basically taking a big chance on Rich Hill. He's a guy who could, he was great last year. He has been a bum this year, but he can strike out guys. He could dominate a game. So that I could spend some more money on hitting. It's not working out so great, but I do have
Me and you at the bottom right
I
now.
do have Judge and Bellinger. Bellinger's yet to play, so I went with a couple big bats. I also went with Chris Bryant, who's just been really awful.
I'm surprised
lately.
his price was
Yeah,
so
he's
high.
been awful,
You look at, I
exactly.
picked Rendon at third base. Rendon's having a better year, averaging more points, and he's $300 less.
Now you
I
guys,
can't believe the Bryant thing.
you guys play this format a lot more than me. How quickly does the price rise and fall, and how drastic is it though?
I mean,
don't think it
I don't
does
know
that quickly.
how their system works with that, but
Yeah.
sometimes you'll find guys that are injured at the top of the list.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they don't always change it right away.
But it also goes on matchup. So if somebody's facing Kershaw, their price is lower.
How much was
It
Hill?
does go
right,
based on
right,
that.
right, right.
How much was Hill?
Hill was 7,800.
He was cheap.
So we'll see. He's going to
How
have to
much was
pitch a great
Marquez?
game.
Marquez was like 7,100. I
It's
think.
cheaper. I thought
Yeah.
Marquez. I almost
That's
picked
why I went
Marquez. I
Marquez,
think
yeah.
Marquez could be if you get
The
your guy.
matchup.
If you get your guys who you spent the money on to hit, I think Marquez would be a good matchup. The
Right.
problem is a couple of
The
guys
guys,
aren't hitting.
yeah.
And
The guys
that
I picked to hit
happens.
aren't
It
hitting,
happens.
right.
But I did like your strategy. I did like the strategy. I thought Marquez was a good matchup, cheap, and you could spend on hitting. Just didn't work out. It can't work out every time.
Right.
Absolutely.
All right, let's switch it up. Question of the night time. Finally, our question of the night. Yesterday was the start of a new league. All right, the Big Three.
In our backyard in Barclays.
At Barclays Center, it premiered. The Big Three is basically like a 3-on-3 tournament where there was a draft. It's run by Ice Cube,
He's the owner,
Yeah.
creator, and everything of the league.
which is interesting. in
Basketball
itself.
visionary.
I'd actually rather have him than Phil Jackson for the Knicks. Maybe he would do something. He'd sign Allen Iverson. But anyway, so
And
this
you could bring Bonzi
so
Wells
basically there
into
was
the
a
mix.
draft. There was a Bonzi Wells might be in this.
He's on one of the
Jackson.
teams.
Bobby
He is.
Jackson.
Yeah.
There was a draft with I think is there 8 teams.
There was a draft. That's right.
And basically a lot of players that just recently left the NBA or they retired. Basically the big star is Allen Iverson, who debuted yesterday, and fans were very excited to see him. He didn't play that great, but it's a 3-on-3 tournament. The rules are different than the NBA. It reminds me a little bit of the XFL. It's kind of just like, and it's keeping people's appetite for basketball alive after the NBA Finals. I think that was a really good decision to start it right after the NBA Finals because people still want more basketball.
Right.
So it's a half-court game, 14-second shot clock, first team to 60. There's 2s, 3s, and 4-pointers.
Yep.
It's kind of like what you said, Donnie. What was it?
It was Rock Jock Basketball.
Rock Jock Basketball.
MTV.
I remember I had to shoot at the hoop that was like 30 feet in the air or something. And it was
horrendous.
It was worth like 60 points or something. So if your team was getting blown out by 50, the last quarter, everybody just chucked up shots to the 60-point basket. But anyway, the question of the night is there a future for this Big Three tournament? You know, can it come to be something?
Or will it be the XFL?
Or will it be the XFL
fail?
and just fizzle out? So
that failed miserably.
I mean,
that didn't even
I'm
fizzle out. That went from that failed horribly.
I'm intrigued by it. I'm going to tell you about my opinion a little bit, but first, I'd like to hear Donnie. What do you think about the Big Three?
I mean, I just looked at a lot of the information today. It's a relatively new league.
Way to do your research, Donnie.
Okay, fair enough. Just found out about this all today.
Ice Cube?
I mean, it looks like they built a pretty good infrastructure for what just looks like a shitty gimmick league, which isn't going to make it beyond this year. So, I don't know.
You're not too high on it.
No, you don't think they have a future.
Rick Barry and Dr. J are going to have to find new teams to coach next year. I mean,
Chris, what do you
maybe
think?
some merch will sell. I don't know.
Pulling no
I
punches.
mean,
No, it's awful.
I think that it could be a disaster. I mean, first of all, how many teams make the playoffs if there's 8 teams in the league? I don't understand.
I think there's like seeding at the end of the regular season games.
Oh, and they all make it? They're just playing for
so
seeding?
then it's like an 8 versus the 1 for the like best record versus the worst record type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I haven't watched the game yet.
Well, yesterday was the debut.
First,
so.
I know.
But all right, so
And
the
it
question
wasn't.
is,
It wasn't on TV. It was on TV tonight.
The question is, will you watch it if it's on TV?
I mean, I'm going to check it out just to see because I haven't seen it yet. But, I want to see if it really holds my attention. I don't know if it's a good idea to have these old guys playing, though. Because old guys are just slow and, like, can they really play? You know what I mean, still?
But let me ask you a question, right? Because then the other option is don't have these retired NBA guys. Have young guys that
D-League guys.
Yeah, like
Well,
D-League guys. Would you
develop
really
their
watch
D-League.
it more than if it was D-League guys?
I don't know.
No, because we don't watch D-League currently.
Well, did
so that
you-
would take that out
Well,
of
they
play.
were chanting.
D-League, yeah.
They were chanting for Iverson the whole most of his
Well,
game. He's the
Iverson's an
player
icon,
coach. Well,
yeah.
exactly. That's what you're trying to get. They're chanting, "We want AI." He only played like 9 minutes.
Iverson-
He shot 6 shots in the 9 minutes. Picked up right where he left off.
I guess that's true, though. I guess you're right. Why would you want D-League guys
I think they
over
should.
old guys? Old guys, at least, they were
They
great
have
players
names. They
at
have
one point. Yeah,
nostalgia.
their
They have
names.
nostalgia to it. I like it. I like it. I'm
like it?
intrigued by it. I'm intrigued by the league. I thought about going yesterday.
How much were tickets? Did you
It's
look?
like $25. I could have got tickets for. I mean, they were over in the upper deck, but
Steal.
More
it
than
was
a Nets
steal.
game.
Exactly. And you watch 4
Oh, yeah,
games.
we were going to Nets
You go
game
and you
for
watch 4
$11.
games because
Yeah.
you watch all of them.
I think that's cool.
I think I'm intrigued by it. I think it's cool. I think some of these guys can still play a little bit. They're not that, they're not like Rashard Lewis hit a 4-pointer. He could just shoot all day. Unfortunately, the problem is they got to make sure they don't get injuries. Like 3 of the guys got injured yesterday. Jay Will, Corey Maggette got hurt. Kenyon Martin got hurt. It's like that's the problem.
Kenyon Martin might die on the court. Yeah.
Injuries are gonna pile up.
Exactly. Then you start going, man, all these guys too old to play.
Well, of much importance, though, do they have television distribution with anybody?
Fox Sports 1.
So they will be on Fox Sports 1.
So the games were yesterday, but Fox Sports 1 is playing them today at 8 o'clock. And I think they kind of want to edit it. I like the rules. It's street basketball.
Kinda, yeah.
It gives guys kind of what, like Ice Cube said he thought of it after he saw Kobe Bryant score 60 in his last game. He said, this guy could still play. It's a shame that he doesn't have an outlet to play, but a little bit less competition.
So maybe hopefully they get like better guys than
Well,
like
they got
Jermaine O'Neal.
Iverson. Yeah,
you know what I
they
mean?
got Iverson.
But like you need guys that are like just retired.
Yeah.
Like
Yes,
that could
exactly.
still play a little bit.
That can't play in
Some
the
N1
NBA and the
mixtape guys.
grind, and the grind of the,
grind of the NBA, but
the
they can
82
still
games,
play basketball.
Still playing
Yeah.
this. I got to say one thing. You mentioned the draft. How bad do you have to feel if you were Steve Francis and you went undrafted?
Yeah.
Steve Francis was a good
Wait, he went
basketball.
undrafted in
He
this?
went undrafted in this Big Three basketball. He went. Jerome,
sad.
the junkyard
I have to imagine
dog
he looks like a
Williams
house
was
right now, though.
drafted. Jerome, the junkyard Williams, he was drafted. You mentioned the Bonzi Wells, all these guys were. Stevie Franchise went on. Coutinho Mobley was drafted. Steve Francis not drafted.
I mean, the ages are ranging from there's a 29-year-old and then there's a 48-year-old Muhammad Abdul Rauf. Remember him? From a long time? He's on a team. I mean, I'm guessing he's not going to play a whole lot, but I think it's interesting. And I mean, I would definitely, if it's at Barclays Center, I don't think
it's not
is.
anymore.
That's
But
it.
the problem is,
I feel like I missed my
guys
opportunity.
laughed at me when
I
I brought
did
it
laugh
up.
at you, but
Yeah, but-
watching the highlights, it's kind of cool.
I
But the
think it's kinda
problem
cool,
is,
yeah, I agree.
it's only standing on one leg, which is nostalgia. And what else? You know what I
Nostalgia
mean?
will get you pretty far.
But if
You're right.
that fizzles out, the whole thing fizzles
You're right.
out. You
And
know what I mean?
Nostalgia will bring people in. It has to be good.
It has to be sustainable.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Can it
absolutely.
be good? And let's give it a little chance. Will you watch it? That's what I'd watch it.
I'm going to check it out,
No.
but I don't know.
Definitely
No.
not.
He's not interested at
Definitely
all.
not. No.
Yo, put the Met hat on for me again.
You
I
threw
think
it
me-
too far.
do me
all the
a
way
solid.
over there.
Before we,
Do
no,
me a
before we go off the, you gotta put it on.
Yeah,
Can we
put it
do
on.
All
that?
right, go grab it. Somebody grab it. For me.
She's barking. She's barking orders.
Come on.
Donnie Boss comes in,
Why is it hat? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Please.
and he's putting it on for you too, and everything.
Oh,
Is it more competitive than the NBA? Can I ask that?
Well, yesterday there was a couple close games. I think it
They
went down
played
to
a
the buzzer.
60. You got to win by, it's a deuce. You got called deuce. It's great, but you think it's more competitive than the NBA?
Everything is more competitive than the NBA.
Put
I
it in a
mean,
ponytail.
there's really nothing that's not. So, if they're gonna listen, I think a big thing is they have to stay healthy because if these stars
These nostalgic
get
guys.
injured and then they're not playing,
Stars.
nobody's gonna watch this.
And
Stars. All right, you're right.
of course it's more competitive because NBA 8-1 matchups are not competitive in the least.
No,
So that would have to be more competitive.
I think there's a market for it. I think it'll be interesting. But you got to take it for what it is, you know.
I agree. Yeah.
Right,
I
right.
think it's fun. I think it's fun.
And that's what
why.
it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hopefully it's not the XFL.
No.
Yeah.
Because the XFL is just bad. That was the problem. Except Tommy Maddox. And he hate me.
Yeah.
Rod Smart. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tommy
All right.
Maddox became something.
Guys, I think it's time to wrap it up.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Oh, thank
Still
you.
in
You did a
last
really
place.
good job, man.
Oh, thank you, man. My
You did
first
a good
time
job.
hosting.
Congratulations.
Very
All
good.
right? Donnie
Awesome.
made me comfortable when he wore the wig.
Donnie, can you can we get a fan and just have
Yeah,
the
we'll do
hair blowing in the wind
That
or
would be
something?
sick.
That'd be awesome,
Bring it
man.
in.
That'd be awesome. Like just Donnie on the beach, walking on the beach would be like Bridgeside Sports calendar,
One
Donnie,
side.
July.
Can you put it on backwards again, real quick?
All right, let's see what we got.
Fantastic. All right, you're a clown.
And there it goes again. Okay.
Probably knocked the camera over. All right.
No doubt.
So that wraps up another edition of Bridgeside Sports Live. All right, I'm going to wrap it up for DB, Chris the Analyst Ventura,
Good evening.
and Dr. Sports Science, Philly Cags. I'm Mike Boo. Please tune in to Bridgeside Live tomorrow, where we have Justin and Alina, who's going to be on stage performing a free concert here in the studio. Should be real good, so we hope to see you there watching. It goes live at 9 o'clock p.m. tomorrow. All right? So for the guys and me, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.
We game the gun.